What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. It's getting hot. It's getting hot out there. I am John Rocha, writer, producer, and host here on the Hot Mic, and joined as always by the Sneider himself, Jeff Sneider. How are you?
Hello, Johnny boy.
Look at those glasses. I love it. Where'd you pick those up, buddy?
If you look closely at them, Johnny.
Oh, yes.
These are Sesame Street glasses.
Oh, nice.
I represent Elmo in the house.
I love it. Elmo is the best for sure. Are you this opening day, Jeff? Are your Sox in play? Are they playing right now? Yeah, they won today. Congratulations to your Sox. They won today 5-2. Did my Yanks win? I think my Yanks. No, we won 4-2. Nice. Did you do anything to celebrate opening day today?
No, those days are over. This is not opening day, baby. This is closing day for Jennifer Salke at Amazon MGM.
Well, we're going to get into that.
You know how many texts I got that basically said about fucking time?
We're going to get into that for sure here on the Hot Mic. So much to dive into in the world of entertainment, from the Avengers Doomsday cast reveal to, as Jeff mentioned, the Jen Salke situation, more on the Rachel Zegler stuff. Producer and sons are getting involved now in all this stuff. Some trailer reactions to the new Paul Thomas Anderson and Final Destination films that are out there. Some rumors about Mikey Madison stepping in to lead a franchise, possibly. Jeff's CinemaCon thoughts here as we're just days away from that thing popping off, and some other current news stories that popped throughout the day. So we're going to talk about all that here on the Hot Mic. Remember, Streamlabs super chats are open. Supporting the show is so important. Send it in. You see the Streamlabs address above Jeff's head, and it's in the description of the chat. Well, Jeff, do you want to just jump to it? Shall we just jump into the Jen Salke story? Shall we go ahead and go through it right now, since you kind of teased it here at the top?
Let's start with the Avengers. Let's get the people.
Okay, I was going to say, all right, well, let's do it. Let's do this thing. See this guy right here? His name is Robert Downey Jr., and he was part of the rollout yesterday for the Avengers Doomsday cast. More than 100,000 people at any time were watching this reveal on YouTube. It got over 9 million views on X, and people were waiting up to about 8 to 15 minutes in between these chairs being brought out. I think overall it was 27 chairs that were brought out to announce the cast of Avengers Doomsday. And this live stream went over 5.5 hours. It had a good chunk of the OG X-Men cast being a part of this thing. We got Shang-Chi being a part of this thing. Simu Liu coming back. Namor, Tenochtitlan Mejia came back on this. Letitia Wright. So much, but no Tom Holland, no Halle Berry, no Famke Janssen, no Anna Paquin, no Ryan Reynolds, no Hugh Jackman. But there was at least, Jeff, we got Channing Tatum, thank God, coming back to play Gambit. So your thoughts on this? I know you wrote about it last night, or last night on your Insider newsletter, but tell us what your thoughts are about this whole rollout, and did it work? Was it effective?
It depends how you look at it. I mean, I thought it was both overkill, right? A 5.5 hour press announcement.
Insane.
Like, while I give Marvel credit for doing it on YouTube, which is
what
you're watching these days, rather than in a movie theater for press or at CinemaCon for theater owners, you do this for the fans. You meet them on their turf. 5.5 hours seems excessive.
Yes.
I don't understand the waiting 12 minutes or what the significance is of that in between every single name.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like you said, it worked, right? For 5.5 hours, Marvel's YouTube page was the center of the universe.
Yeah. People, I know Christian Harloff did a watch along. I think you were on there, right, Jeff? Did you pop on there? Somebody mentioned that you might have been.
I'm like in the middle of, fiddling myself in the mornings.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people enjoyed it, Jeff, because there were so many live streams, a lot of big views, and it's kind of crazy. 5.5 hours, though, man, that's a lot.
It was the talk of the whole day, and then of course they released the tweet, and it's like a minute 40. That's how long. I think it's tough to talk about this cast when you don't have all the information in front of you, right? Like this is basically half the names.
Yes. 27 names. That's a lot.
I don't know if this is the main cast. I don't know if this is the cast that they know are there now and are going to be there next week. Whereas 2 months from now, I'm telling you, they don't know who's going to be there. Okay? If they can get Chris Pratt, Chris Pratt, we got to find you some lines to say. You're going to take the lines from so-and-so. Okay. Oh. That's how, like, I'm told the script is not locked.
What? It starts shooting within days.
First of all, they're going to deny everything upside down. How many times do we hear after the fact? We didn't even have a locked script for that. Okay. So when I say that, I mean, listen, they know what the scenes are. They know what the movie is, but do I think like this person is saying this line and that's 100% guaranteed? No.
Right.
That's based on availability. It's based on a whole bunch of things. I still think is up in the air.
Okay. That seems like a horrible way to go about doing this, because then you're just handing lines to everybody. But are you going to get the overall storylines lined up for all these characters if you don't even know who's going to be on set?
Well, that's the question, John, is like, does this 27 represent the main characters, if you will?
Right.
And then the other 18 characters that I think are going to be in there, are those just like cameos? Do they just show up, real quick, and then it's like, we're definitely going to be in Secret Wars? Because people are going to die in this movie.
Yeah, right. It seems like, especially when you bring in the OG X-Men from the Fox universe. I mean, we're going to see Patrick Stewart die again on screen, it seems like. And they only brought a select few from the OG X-Men universe. Somehow, Fraser Crane, Kelsey Grammer himself made the cut, but but some of these others did not, like Famke Janssen. Halle Berry didn't make the cut, it seems like, for now. So
okay, so this is another thing that we got to talk about.
Bring it down.
Making the cut, and honestly, I love Devin Faraci. I respect the hell out of Devin. He's one of the few people in this business who I look up to, and I think he's one of the best writers to ever do it.
Yes,
I listened to his podcast last night with his brother, which was good. You should all check it out. I think it's the Marvel Pod. I don't know. I forget what it's called. It was my first time listening to it, to be honest. But they kept talking about like, oh, this guy's going to be back because they want to be back. Like Mark Ruffalo wants to be in more Marvel movies, and Dave Bautista's definitely not back because he wants to be out. It's like, it's not about who wants to be in, who doesn't want to be in. It's also about money, as most things are. As I told you, the Fantastic Four could have been totally different if Marvel was going to spend Robert Downey Jr. money on these people.
Right.
They took the, if you will, bargain version of the Fantastic Four, I believe, but that's because they need these people to now show up in every little thing. Now it's going to be the Thunderbolts, who are the new Avengers.
Yeah, it seems like
that's what the asterisk is.
Okay, good reveal there. All right, but will they be the Dark? But see, this is where we go a little too deep for you. Is it Dark Avengers or Avengers?
Exactly. So you got a new crop of Avengers, and then you've got the Fantastic Four, and they're going to be populating all these other different movies in it now. So I understand that you can't get like Emma Stone and Margot Robbie to just like show up whenever we snap our fingers.
Right.
Vanessa Kirby, it might be a little bit easier. I'll do respect. Right. Now, where was I going with this? What were we talking about?
I was just saying how like some of them showed up, some of them didn't.
It's about money and about availability, right? So it's like, well, where's Spider-Man? Yeah. Okay, well, Tom Holland is going to cost a lot more. Like, why do we need to spend that money on this? We've already spent $50 million alone on Downey.
Right.
Right, and you just saw 26 other people announced. Plus, you've got huge VFX on this. I mean, these movies, there's a real fear that they're not going to do what they used to do.
Yeah. Right?
You've already seen things scaling down.
Yeah.
This is like, even though this is a clear win if it grosses $1 billion,
right?
I think, right? Or, 1.2, 1.4. $2 billion is where, everyone thinks it needs to be, or it's a disappointment.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the new normal for anything with Avengers in the title. And that's a lot of pressure because the marketplace is different.
Right. Yeah. We've seen so many franchises underperform. The most recent Mission Impossible film underperformed. The most recent Fast and Furious film underperformed. Star Wars certainly had a rough time, both TV and on screen. So it's like you see this happening with a lot of these franchises, and who knows how people are going to react to Superman once it comes out. So there's I think there's a lot of people like waiting to see, like, are you really going to impress me? And I think the Marvel people were saying, well, see, there's no superhero exhaustion because 7 million people watch this or 9 million people watch this. That's got nothing to do with anything, because just because people could watch something from the convenience of their home sitting on their ass, or at work sitting on their ass with a screen on their phone, it does not mean necessarily that those are going to translate to ticket buyers to go see the film if the film's doesn't seem like the trailers are great, or the reviews aren't that great. So
I just read it 2 hours ago that Final Destination Bloodlines has the second most viewed horror trailer of all time. Do we think that'll be the second biggest horror movie of all time? You guys tell me.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no correlation between these things. But now I'm not saying I'm right or that I have all the answers. Right? Sure. I'm not privy to that cast list. And for all I know, fucking Tom Holland will be able to swing by.
Yeah.
I'm told that he, obviously he's busy. He's filming Nolan's movie. Then he has to go into his own movie.
Right.
I just, I'm told that Spider-Man 4 is like basically taking place at the same time, like simultaneously, concurrently, alongside Doomsday. And that would explain his absence.
Yeah, some people said I saw some people on social media say it was a fail, that you're not going to have Tom Holland see RDJ for the first time as Dr. Doom in Doomsday. But I think more people are going to want to see Secret Wars than Doomsday. So you want to save that moment for Secret Wars instead of Doomsday. And as you said, if the Spider-Man movie is running at the same time as Doomsday in terms of the timeline of the MCU, then it doesn't make sense for him to show up in Doomsday, and you want to save him for Secret Wars,
Completely agree. Right. But yeah, I saw a lot of people though, just like talking about, well, why isn't this person in it? Why isn't that person in it? Well, again, it's about availability and money. Is this person worth it? Right. Brie Larson, doesn't matter what's going on with her career, or whatever. She's still an Oscar winner. Yep. You're still going to pay for that premium. Is it worth it? Are we getting Brie Larson for a second? Obviously, she's not one of the main 27. There was a lot of complaints about the male-female ratio. Listen, all these movies, guys, are like 4 or 5 or 6 men and then 1 or 2 women. So yeah, when you cram them all together, you wind up with 22 to 25 men and 4 or 5 women. That's what happens when you literally take every single cast and smush them.
Yeah. It'd be different if they started out with female heavy casts from the beginning or whatever. It took a while for Marvel to realize that and kind of balance the scale. So you're not there. And as you said, all the characters have probably been announced yet. So there may be more women showing up in Doomsday or whatever. So that complaint can go right out the window. It's not, I saw so many people tweeting that's the full cast. I'm like, it's not the full fucking cast. It's not. And sure enough, RDJ, not even an hour later, said, oh boy, that's a deep bench. And Marvel's like, we could add a few more. Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk. So, there's going to be more announcements coming, more cast people coming to be a part of it. But what you say makes me, because I wondered why they didn't announce them, but what you say now, that they don't know what's locked, they don't know what deals they have with anybody yet, that this is why they did this. They did the 27 to get people excited, but then they're going to keep adding on as contracts get locked. Then they'll be able to announce more names coming on to the cast of Doomsday. So they kind of, it's an interesting decision. But what did you think of them doing this now, Jeff? Because like 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again dropped the night before. They've been taking it on the chin for Captain America Brave New World. Do you think this was an attempt for them to kind of turn back some of the negative conversations that have been happening around Marvel over the last few weeks and just own it for a day? And now everyone's talking about it, including us, and getting excited about it.
Again, the Faraci brothers did a good job in pointing out, like they're probably doing this to get ahead of all kinds of leaks, because if these people, if it's in production, it's going to be on set, people are going to see them.
Right.
And things, that's the last thing that they need is our photos being leaked from the set and giving all these, reveals. So I think this is actually a pretty savvy play by Marvel in terms of, we're going to announce everybody at once. It was a clever way to do it, even if it was annoying to us movie bloggers.
Yeah.
So
were there any surprises for you? Like, was Namor a surprise? Was the fact that they announced the entire Thunderbolts cast, basically saying everyone's going to live out of the movie that's coming up here in the next next few weeks, rather? Is there anything here that you felt was a bit like they kneecapped their own movie or anything like that?
Some people felt it was that, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And again, this is my first time listening to Devin and his brother talking. And they were like the Kelsey brothers of movies, okay? These guys, to their credit, I'm telling you, I love Devin. They were saying, John, fuck. What were we just?
Oh my God.
No,
We were just talking about people being upset that the ending might have been spoiled because they're all going to live.
It gets people to see Thunderbolts. Sorry. That's what it is. It gets people to see Thunderbolts. That if they're nervous about Thunderbolts opening, John.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, let's just tell them right now up front. They're all in Avengers. That gets more people in the door to say, oh, who are these characters that are now going to play a major role in my favorite franchise? So again, a savvy play by Marvel here. You got to think about it on different levels. And I'm sorry if I brain farted. I don't like keep notes. So maybe I should like write this shit down. But yeah, sometimes
no, you have me for that apparently. But what do you think about the OG X-Men coming back? What's the logic behind that? Do you think that's a little a step too far? Kelsey, I know was at the end of the Marvels.
I think.
Yeah, tell me about this.
Why are we still dealing with these characters 20 years later?
No, it's weird.
Everybody said goodbye to these characters after The Last Stand in 2006. Yeah. Right? Like we were ready to like leave these people behind.
Yeah, it wasn't a good movie.
Right. Everyone's blue. Mystique, Nightcrawler, Beast. Everybody's blue.
All blue.
The fucking Smurfs of the X-Men out there. I don't know why you'd bring any of these people back if you're not bringing back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, which I'm sure will be happening. And he's just not part of the 27-person announcement. Because I know how these things work in Hollywood.
Yes, you know that, right? Like no one wants to be. That's why they brought RDJ in at the end, because they're like RDJ and everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every photo, it's not of the chairs, it's of Robert Downey Jr. You know?
Yeah.
So, but I think that these people are going to be not in the movie for very long. I feel like, didn't we talk about this? Weren't you the one to sort of say like that you'd heard that it was going to be the Wakandans, Fantastic Four, X-Men, and the Avengers?
Yeah, being all part of it. That's why I wasn't surprised by any of these, except for maybe Namor. I think Namor was the only big surprise I had. Simu Liu had to come back, for God's sakes, because they've screwed him over so hard.
They both had to come back because they represent giant communities, and that's it.
That's true.
I guess there's Danny Ramirez, but
no, it's not the same as Namor. Nowhere near the same.
I agree.
No. But I did like that. I mean, I did like that you got those guys to come back and be a part of that. That was my biggest surprise. But, when you talk here, as you're talking right now, and I look at the cast list here, some of these are about timing. Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, certainly because of what's just happened here. But you got Paul Rudd, you've got Wyatt Russell, you got all these. These are like, I'm not saying they're not A-listers, but they're certainly not like RDJ or the big name or Tom Holland and everything. So these are more people who are at a certain level. And so this is fun to roll them out in the way that you're rolling them out and pull the chairs out. I did find it annoying. I did find it real. I know they played the theme song for each person's thing after they announced them, each person's movie after they announced them. But for me, this felt very laborious and supremely unnecessary. And yes, you owned the day. I saw someone call it ambitious. And I'm like, what's ambitious about walking out director's chairs every 8 to 15 minutes? That's nothing ambitious about that. It's just, you wanted to fuck with the audience, have them waiting with bated breath. But these are the kind of stunts, Jeff, that if the movie comes out and it's not good, is a big F you to think about later on. What's wrong? You need to switch glasses now?
I like these.
I think you took one too many just before you came on. I'm just going to say that right now. I think you took one too many. You went across that line, as you tend to do, and now we've got to reel you back in.
Oh, dude.
Let's see what else. Okay, so at the end of the day, though, coming out of this, has Marvel succeeded in what they were attempting to do by owning the news cycle and getting people talking about this stuff? Because also there were rumors that Kevin Feige was nervous about the Russo brothers and that he was going to be more hands-on than ever. The Electric State absolutely ate a fart when it came out here and was destroyed. So that's why
I refuse to believe these X-Men rumors, because those are like, I keep hearing that the Russos could end up doing X-Men, and it's like, are we giving them all of these giant movies? I can't believe it.
Yeah.
can't believe it.
After Electric State, I think I would think twice about everything and see how Doomsday comes out, and then see how Secret Wars comes out. Right?
I don't know if they can wait another year to have a director on X-Men. Again, we were even talking about. Remember, this X-Men's supposed to come out quicker than everybody's expecting.
Yeah, and are they going to have the X-Men move? Are they going to have the X-Men show up in Secret Wars? Will some of the OG X-Men survive from Doomsday into Secret Wars? Will there be a passing of the torch? Will there be little winks and nods? Because, I mean, in Deadpool and Wolverine, it did get a little bit frustrating when they were all fighting in that fight near the end, and you're just like, all right, well, I don't know what's going on. You've done nothing to build up all these villains that we've seen in the previous X-Men movies. And if this is what's going to happen, that you've got to do all the homework before you walk in, so that when they give you your character for 30 seconds, you're the one as the viewer bringing in all the nostalgia and history of that character, so you buy the line and you move on. These are the concerns I have with the way they're setting it up, because it's a massive cast. I thought Doomsday was only going to be like 15 to 20 people, but we're talking about 27 and 27 plus, clearly, from what Downey Jr. and Marvel were indicating. So it's a lot.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
1 second. Yeah. Okay. So there's okay. I almost said something, but I was incorrect. It's good to see the Wakandans involved as well.
I agree. Yeah.
That's an important corner of this universe.
Do we get T'Challa or T'Chaka or whoever is going to replace Black Panther in this situation?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Do you think Doomsday or Secret Wars?
I have no idea. I mean, listen, Is there any distinction at this point?
Yes. Doomsday is the Infinity War to Secret Wars is Endgame. You've got to lay the groundwork for everything in Infinity War or in Doomsday, which is probably going to end on a bummer, just like Infinity War did. So that you make people feel good coming out of Endgame or Secret Wars as they did with Endgame.
Based on the timing,
okay,
I would say it suggests yes. I think that you probably will.
Yeah,
it's been helpfully clarified for me that I'm not talking about, it's not T'Challa 1, it's T'Challa 2 that they're casting the son.
Right.
Okay, they're casting the new Black Panther.
Right.
I've already sort of intimated who it was going to be.
Right.
They made an offer to an actor who is now a superhero elsewhere. And there will be a lot on that person's shoulders. Listen, I think the Avengers, I think Doomsday is definitely on the right track. Robert Downey Jr. is really all you need. I don't think you need Spider-Man. I think there's going to be a lot more people revealed, so everybody needs to chill and hold their horses before.
Yeah, there'll be time. I don't usually read the super chats early, but we got to read this one. Let Me Ward says, Jeff, do you realize that you're a gay icon? Hi from your LGBTQI community, Jeff.
I have heard that, but I'm honored and flattered. Thank you.
Yeah,
I love my LGBTQ brothers and sisters.
There you go. If only you could have swung. If only you could swing that way, you'd be set up for life, I feel like. All right. Anything more to say on this? Anything more you want to cover on Marvel? Any Marvel news, nuggets, tidbits, scoops?
I mean,
what have you got?
So, like I said in the newsletter last night, Johnny, did you read it?
I did. I read it. Yes, of course.
So what have we not talked about if you read it?
Oh, Christ. There was so much. There was a lot of it because you were a little late doing it.
Fucking guy didn't read it.
I read it.
It was about Blade.
Oh, right. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. Blade, again, of course. Yes. Your thing that Cary Fukunaga was possibly going to do.
We're talking about. Sorry, you do your thing.
No. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Cary, it's your story. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had heard. I'd heard that Blade had a director last year, and I was trying to get it out of my sources, and nobody would tell me, and I dropped it. In fact, I think I sometimes play a game with sources, and I respect the rules of the game, and this frustrates the hell out of Jamie, who I often bounce ideas off of, right? Yeah. But I play a game with sources, and I'll say, okay, give me a hint, and I get 3 guesses. If I can't get it in the 3 guesses, I don't get it.
Oh, wow.
ask them for the answer. It's like, no, you have to wait. Like you're in timeout. So, normally I guess like a couple names a month for the Blade director, and based on like one hint, and I kept missing. And so I didn't get it. And then, this week I finally heard that it was in fact going to be Cary Fukunaga, who nearly directed a Mahershala Ali movie, right? Blackout, this Blackout 77 movie with Tom Hardy or whatever. So it was like kind of right there under my nose the whole time. They actually haven't worked together before, which surprised me. They both worked on True Detective, but separate seasons.
Right.
And so anyways, but like Fukunaga is famously a little difficult, right?
Yeah, what you said in your newsletter, which I read.
Right? The It movies he fell off of. I don't think that the Bond movie was, very easy. I don't think Masters of the Air, was terribly easy. So I mean, he's a great director, right? And he does these big things coming out of like indie land too.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out for whatever reason on Blade, and now it has a new director, I'm told.
Right. And
looking at the evidence, World of Real broke this story. I don't know who broke it, but like they ran a story like at the top of the month about Chad Stahelski possibly directing Blade, and I think that might be right.
Yeah, it seems like we talked about it on the show, and I think we were both in the camp of why not? This is a great idea. The man has experience. The man can land the plane on these franchises, and can add that mainstream interest, pop culture mainstream interest that you want to get for something like this at this point, after 6 years since the announcement, So Chad Stahelski doing this this is better than David Leitch. Like if you'd heard David Leitch, you'd be a little trepidatious, but you hear Stahelski and you're like, you know what? I think I'm on board,
This is definitely better than Leitch. Again, who can still deliver a hell of an action sequence, but Stahelski has been more consistent to me.
Yeah.
He is part of, the John Wick franchise is really his baby.
Yeah.
More than Leitch, obviously. And he was also there for Matrix. So I think he's a cool choice if it winds up being him. And I like that it didn't, it's not that I like this, but it's like it didn't need to be a person of color.
Right.
I sometimes think that studios and executives force that issue a little too much instead of just hiring the best person for the job. And that goes both. I mean, it's hard to say that goes both ways, but like that's what it should be regardless.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the episode of The Studio that we watched a couple of days ago where they dealt with that. I'm not going to ruin anything, but that was
hilarious.
Incredible. It was incredible.
100% accurate. Like, and that's the genius of that show, John. How many have you seen? Did you see the whole thing?
We're up to 7. We're going to finish the last 3 tonight because we ripped through Adolescence last night, all 4 episodes last night. Holy God, what a show, man. And so
did you cry?
We had, oh yeah, of course. And hey, the Lady Outlaw cries, and she never cries. And she cried at the end.
So it got me the second time even I watched it. It's great.
Jesus Christ, you could sit through that a second time.
It's shattering, and it's going to win all the Emmys.
Probably, yeah. It's going to be the baby reindeer of this year for sure.
Did you find the studio tailing off a little in later episodes, or
not yet? I mean, like we're at episode 7, so we haven't done 8, 9, and 10. If 8, 9, and 10 are not like, because there's the episode at a certain benefit. I thought that was an awesome episode, and I was cheering for him like crazy. Even though I probably was wrong to cheer for him like crazy. And then we saw the one that has to do with hiring a person of color and what that means and all of that stuff. So I liked both of those episodes. So maybe 8, 9, and 10 are going to be a little bit not as strong. So, but we'll see.
A hit show, like a breakout show for Apple, the way that Ted Lasso or Severance is, or do you think this is really just limited to the industry?
It's so inside baseball, and people have such hate for the industry. I mean, it could break out because it's Seth Rogen, who's been a favorite of so many people who are mainstream watchers of things. But I don't know. Look at I haven't heard much buzz today at all about it, and it came out last night, right? So the first 2 episodes, but there hasn't been that much buzz around it. Reviews are out there and stuff, but I haven't heard people going crazy about it. I mean, the Marvel thing has just kind of consumed everything, like Galactus, and not much else has been breaking through. So maybe as it goes along and people discover it, like the word of mouth builds, then halfway through the season, people are like now talking about it and going crazy about it. But it's a busy month, Jeff.
About it. I've been telling people to watch it. At least, I mean, most people who know me at least have some idea of what I do and the industry and that kind of thing, right? So they may appreciate it, but I just think at the average person, to me, like it's like someone said, like it's like Entourage without the boobs.
Yeah.
Like, well, where's like the sex and it's like, it's more about the drugs than the sex, I guess. As you'll soon find out.
J&B is right here. Lady Outlaw is tough as nails. She probably makes fun of Rocha when he gets emotional movies. First of all, she doesn't go to movies, so she doesn't see it. But when we watch shows and I get emotional or watch it, she'll sometimes she'll scoff, sometimes, but when she sees it's authentic, she'll reach out and hold my hand. But if she thinks it's bullshit, she will call me out, J&B. So good call there. All right, what do you got? What is this? A design? What is this? What are you messing with? Oh, no, you got a bunch of. Look at this guy. Oh, you need to get a rack that you can spin around and grab. All right. Anything more on this, man? Or do we anything more on the Blade situation or anything else Marvel wise you want to cover?
I don't think so. I mean, there was a little bit of DC stuff in there. Clayface I heard is getting a pretty heavy rewrite, which is surprising. But it sounds like Colin is in fact Sergeant Rock. It sounds like Luca's meeting with other people and for the other roles, not other people for Sergeant Rock, but other people for other roles. And you don't really meet the other people for other roles unless you've got your Sergeant Rock. So
I feel like there's two ways to look at it. One, either James Gunn and Matt Reeves really do get along so well that Matt Reeves is like, absolutely, you got to work with Colin. Colin is so great. Or James Gunn big brothered him and said, I'm going to take your guy and put him in my stuff because you're not going to have your guy for much longer in your universe. I feel like those are the two ways you have to look at this situation. And I wonder how Colin feels about it. Was Colin like, I don't want to choose between mom and dad. Just I'm going to go work with dad now. And eventually maybe I'll come back to mom. I don't know. But, it's an interesting decision to pick from the plate you've already eaten from. It's
well, okay. While we're talking about DC, I mean, is there anything DC related that we need to talk about?
I mean, is there anything Superman related, James Gunn related? I don't have anything on the rundown for DC, but
Well,
if there's anything you want to bring up.
I needed to bring up The Dream.
The Dream? Your dream?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You had a dream about DC? Go ahead.
Here we go.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Last week, I think I talked about detoxing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I made it the full week. I made it.
Yes. 7
full days. Marijuana. And when you stop smoking marijuana, all of a sudden you dream. And I had very, very vivid dreams last week, and it was pretty wild. And James Gunn came to me in a dream, and he said, Jeff L., please do not reveal the identity of any major cameos in Superman.
Wow.
I appreciate it. And this week I found out one of those major cameos, the most majorest cameo of them all.
Oof.
And I have agreed in that dream. Like, I just had to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything about that. James Gunn has worked too hard and come too far for me to blow it at this stage. And so I won't be party to it. Now, to me, take this fucking music off.
Okay.
What the fuck is it? To me, there's a big Johnny. Come back.
I'm coming back now.
To me, there's a difference, okay, between reporting,
yes,
and spoiling. Okay.
Okay.
If I had found out this cameo a few months ago,
yeah,
I probably would have reported it. At this point, where it's now screening.
Wait. First, why would you have reported it a couple of months ago?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
At this point, with the movie screening, James Gunn is one. He's made it to the finish line.
Okay.
In my book. See, this, like, I know everyone thinks I'm a piece of shit, but I actually have a code of honor, a code of ethics that I play by. I'm a man of my word.
Sir Sneider.
A movie is screening, or, like if the screeners came out, right, for a show, and I wasn't even watching the screeners or didn't have access to screeners, but I heard about it.
Right.
That's a spoiler at that point. If you just 100%. Shit. And I feel like at this point, this cameo would be a spoiler.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to spoil movies or ruin your enjoyment. So, James Gunn, you came to me in a dream, you win, and I will not say jack shit about this cameo other than to say, I like it. Good job.
What was he wearing? Do you remember? And what did he sound like? Did he sound like James Gunn?
Yes, he had just that shock of white hair and the black glasses, and you just knew instantly who it was.
Wow.
He had beautiful white chest hair.
That makes sense that you can run your hands through. No surprise. No surprise at all. So you're going to have to wait, people. He's not going to spoil what he knows about the Superman movie in terms of a cameo. So you're going to have to wait until maybe later on in the process. Maybe when DC pisses him off or James Gunn pisses him off.
No, listen, there are things. Listen, there are things I don't report.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. You've told me things you don't report.
Yeah. Plenty of stuff I don't report. And I do recognize that there's a line. Now, the line is different for the studios and the agencies. They think I cross the line every fucking day.
Well, because they can't control it.
Have a pretty fair sense of decorum.
Right. Fair point. All right. Now, shall we move on to the Jen Salke story now? Are you ready, or do you want to move on to something else?
Yeah, we can talk about Jen.
Okay, let's do this. Jen Salke, she has stepped down. This is kind of surprising. She's the head of Amazon MGM Studios. She is stepping down from her role and will focus on starting a new production entity on the lot. Prime Video head Mike Hopkins said in an internal memo sent to staff and obtained by IndieWire, that's where I'm getting this from, Salke has been the primary voice at Amazon MGM since 2018, and she's been behind the development and acquisition of shows like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Saltburn, The Rings of Power, Fallout, Reacher, Red One, and many more. No successor has been named, Jeff, but Hopkins said we've decided to flatten our leadership structure a bit, with head of TV Vernon Sanders and head of TV Courtney Valenti now reporting to him. We felt this was the best direction for our studio, which will now operate as a distinct film and television studio. This has been such an interesting journey for Amazon Prime, Prime MGM, Amazon MGM, whatever they're calling themselves now. Because I remember being a Collider when Salke got the job, and this was an indication that they wanted to move away from like Oscar fare, and they wanted to move to more popular mainstream type of content here. But now she's stepping down 7 years later. What are your thoughts about this? What are your feelings on this?
I mean, this was inevitable and went on far too long.
Why?
Listen, like any other studio executive, Jen Salke made some good movies, and Jen Salke made some bad movies. But at the end of the day, where did Jen Salke come from?
Oh, God, I don't remember. Where?
You don't remember because she came from a place called television.
Ah.
That's right. She's not a film person. She's not a film person.
You
have a not film person running a film studio. That's not really how it works. I have better sense of how to run a film studio than Jennifer Salke. So this was a long time coming. They're not even like I love that pretty big slap in the face, I think, from Mike Hopkins here. They're not even replacing her. They're just eliminating the position. They're like, we don't even what do you do here? We don't even need you. It was bad.
This is almost like Doge. They're like we don't even need the position anymore. We're getting rid of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's basically like, well, we have Courtney Valenti, a real pro from Warner Brothers.
That's true.
Movies, and we have Sue Kroll, a real marketing pro from Warner Brothers, who's going to help us sell the movies. And so if we have somebody making the movies and somebody selling the movies, we have Vernon Sanders doing television. Why do we need a boss besides me, Mike Hopkins?
Right. So what do you think was the final straw here? And why is she staying on as on the set, on the lot there to do basically have an in-house production situation? Do you think that's just to smooth the waters? and what have you. What do you think they went that route with her, and why do you think she agreed to it?
It's the golden parachute. This is what you'd expect if you're Jen Salke. It's like, yo, I just gave you 7 of my best years as an executive. Like certainly took Amazon to another level as far as like the types of movies that it makes and the people that it works with, unquestionably, right? You got to give Jen Salke credit where it's due.
Right.
She took out her nuts and slapped them on the table and got Lord of the Rings, didn't she?
Yes, she did, with Rings of Power. Yeah, absolutely.
Did this Bond deal not just happen on her watch?
Yeah, 100%.
You got to give Jen Salke credit, right? She just like you have to give Amy Pascal credit, because why is Spider-Man? Why are we even talking about Spider-Man and Avengers at all?
Yeah,
Amy fucking Pascal.
Right.
So she's going to get the Amy Pascal golden parachute deal, and she's fucking earned it. And she'll be making movies there for years to come, I'm sure, just like Kathleen Kennedy is going to be making producing the Star Wars movies after she leaves in August.
Yeah, some of the things she was responsible for: Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Saltburn, Rings of Power, as we mentioned, Fallout, which a lot of people loved, Reacher, which Jeff and I both love, Red One, and many more things happened under her watch. So yeah, it's a great point. What do you think this indicates, though? Like you said, it was a long time coming. When did you sense that this was? When was the right time for them to have made this move? Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago? What do you think?
I think it was probably last year on the heels of Red One. You used that as the cover.
Yeah. How terrible that came out. Yeah. It's a great point.
We can't have this. But then who knows if the Bond thing happens?
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Maybe they set her, they used her, right, as the bait, right? They sent her out there and they're like, Jennifer Salke, just be yourself. And eventually Barbara Broccoli will get so fed up of having to deal with you that she'll tell us James Bond for $1 billion. It's a maniacal plan, a genius plan from the man's richest world, Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man. The man, what did he say? The man's richest world, the world's richest man.
The world's richest man, yes.
All right, I'm not stroking that over here.
Well, speaking of Amazon MGM, I mean, we've got anything more to say on the Salke situation? What do you anticipate her?
I just said it in a way that 8,000 other analysts and reporters are going to try to say it, and no one's going to say it better than I just fucking did.
All right, fair point. But speaking of Amazon MGM, Jeff, this was announced a few days ago as well that Amy Pascal, you mentioned Amy Pascal, and David Heyman are taking over and producing the James Bond movie. The articles make it really clear
to play James Bond. Go back to that photo.
Yeah, Heyman. Yeah, look at him. He's
she could be M.
Oh yeah, she could be M. But your thoughts here, Jeff? I mean, those two taking over, two very seasoned pros executives with a lot of veteran experience with franchises. One British, one American. Your thoughts? Does this make sense? But they're only doing the next movie. There is no announcement that they're taking over the whole thing.
Boris Kitt, the Hot Reporter, made that crystal clear. It's a one-off deal, as it should be. It's like, why are we just handing over, a whole universe where if we don't like what they do right off the bat, now we have to pay these people off too in order to get them off the TV shows and all that shit. So it's just like, hey, let's focus on making one movie.
Yeah.
And then we'll take it. We can, decide where to go from there based on how it does and everything.
So basically, you're saying if the movie is not good, they're going to be like, oh, and then we'll get a new James Bond, or will they keep that James Bond and just hire new producers and new directors?
They could just say, all right, we're not, James Bond movies are on hold for a little while. We're going to focus on TV shows or something. Who knows? I mean, I have no idea what the fuck they're thinking.
It's an interesting situation.
A movie being bad has ever stopped a studio from making a sequel before?
Recently, there's something, but I can't think of it right now. There certainly won't be a Snow White sequel. I'll tell you that right now. There certainly won't be nothing coming up.
Whether, and I'll be asking this soon, I'm sure someone will steal it. Are these other live action movies that are going to go forward at Disney?
Yeah, it's a good question. All right. Anything more on this? Anything more you want to say on that one? Do you expect anything? Do you expect well, let's tie that into your CinemaCon predictions. Do you think that they will? I know you are reading through your CinemaCon predictions. You mentioned that they might make an announcement, might not, but not to hold your breath. Do you think there will be something there?
About what?
About Bond. Do you think they'll make any kind of announcement there at CinemaCon?
If I was them, I would just give a year. I would do the 2027.
Oh, okay, just that.
Yeah, I would just say coming in 2027, and I think that Thanksgiving 2027 is a good placement for it.
Okay. I mean, I would announce a director if I had one. I would announce a director.
I don't know if I'd try to rush into that for theater owners, unless it's like it already is Cuarón and it's done.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
I'd be down with that. I'd want to see that. All right, let's move to something you wanted to talk about. What is this? Where is this? This situation. This is the Jeff Sneider section of the show. Apparently, an 8-figure bidding war has broken out on the rights to a new thriller novel from the unlikely pairing of James Patterson, who you see in the circle there, and Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson. UTA has put the novel out for submission. This is from Jesse Whittock, I think, over there at Deadline. UTA has put the novel out for submission and is quickly gaining traction. Film, TV, and novel rights are being shopped. With sources close to the process saying, quote, there are 8-figure offers that are being fielded here. Some people compared it to The Most Dangerous Game. Some people compared it to Squid Game. And the logline reads, players fight to survive deadly tests held in dangerous locations around the world as they battle to become the one. You know, Jeff, Mr. Beast just basically took what he does overall and just added you become the one at the end of it. So I don't know if this is that inventive of an idea from both of them, but it's two powerhouses coming together for sure who've been successful in their respective fields. Your thoughts on this?
Tired. I'm going to call James. I'm going to call James right now.
Go ahead. Call him.
Be like, what the hell is going on, James? Why is all your news leaked to Deadline? No, this is the world's biggest author and the world's biggest YouTuber teaming up. So that's why it's not the Jeff Sneider section. It's actually the populist section. This is what people read and what people watch. Okay. I think it's a pretty big deal. The book itself, you're right, isn't terribly original, but it's the kind of thing that, like, that could be the next Hunger Games, and I could see why movie and TV studios are like salivating over each other to get it. Particularly, and I could see it being an unscripted series as well. This is what people want, is like competition shows, right? Like Squid Game, where there's a lot of money on the line. Mr. Beast obviously had like the biggest grand prize, I think, in game show history. Right. Like.
But I mean, he's also been, been the subject of accusations of sexual harassment, unsafe conditions, filming during the stuff that he was doing there. Isn't that a danger or a concern going into the situation? Or are we now?
If it was such a danger and I was so concerned, I wouldn't have applied to be a contestant on on Beast Game 2.
No offense, man, but you like to take risks. So I don't know if that's true what you just said. I don't know if that's true necessarily.
I'm not too concerned about having to sleep without a pillow for a few nights. So he kept us there without a pillow and it was cold.
But this will be a movie, which is a different approach to this situation. It won't be a Squid Game series. This will be a movie, probably.
That's one based on the book, but then they're also shopping an unscripted series based on with like the similar idea, essentially, like the game.
Yeah. So basically, taking the Squid Game idea and doing it for themselves.
I mean, that's what Beast Game already is. It's just like a different name on it, if you will.
That's true. All right, so let's move on to
you should watch it.
What's that, Mr. Beast?
Beast Games is amazing on Amazon Prime Video. You should watch it, and you should apply to be on it because you'd be great.
I think I'm too old, man. I watched some of that Mr. Beast stuff, and I was like, I don't know. That seems like a lot of yelling. It's not.
You're the guy who doesn't yell, and you could just, be like Will one who hangs back and suddenly finds himself in a position to win $1 million.
Yeah, I'll just be like, yeah, why not? $1 million would be fun for sure. All right, so we'll see what the update. We'll keep tabs on that and see what the updates on that particular story are. Let's see what else we got here, Jeff. Let's jump into this story. Let's get into a little bit of drama. Rachel Zegler here. Earlier this week, THR did a behind-the-scenes exploration of Rachel Zegler, our friend, and we're fans of hers, Tatiana Siegel, as a writer. She wrote up this article for THR. Basically, it seemed like, and a lot of people took it this way, that this was maybe the Disney, through their contacts, pushing it out there that Rachel Zegler was the reason that the film did not do well, Snow White, instead of the film being not good, that it was Rachel Zegler's outspokenness. Apparently Marc Platt went to visit her after she did the Free Palestine comment, after the first trailer got so many views, and her team turned him down and said that she wasn't changing, she's going to do her own thing. And then she did another comment, obviously on the red carpet and other things that she said. And Marc Platt went again. And this time she agreed to a social media guru to help her. Well, on the heels of that certain situation, this happened. Marc Platt's son weighed in on this, who co-hosts the Being Jewish podcast, Jonah Platt. And how many Platts are there, for God's sakes? Anyway, here's what he said. Here's how he responded. Your dad flew to NYC to reprimand a young actress. Any words on this? Because that's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No shame on your father. He said, you really want to do this? Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics in the middle of promoting the movie for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability. Interactions clearly hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. The irony of a Platt brother saying that is it's beyond me in my head. But Jeff, your thoughts on this on these comments in this situation? He took that post down, by the way. Jonah did, but clearly that's his feelings about this. What do you think about this?
Today, and two things can be true at once.
Go ahead.
I do think that Rachel Zegler has probably cost Disney some money with her outspoken opinions and views and just general annoyingness. Okay. I simultaneously think that Disney spent way too much money on a bad, or not a bad because I haven't seen it, but a Snow White movie that clearly has not resonated with the public despite some social media activity from its lead or leads.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think both of these parties are at fault, but ultimately you can't blame Rachel Zegler for the movie not drawing in enough people, because I don't think that movie is star dependent. I think that's about like who wants to see a live action Snow White movie, and also does the movie look good, which also has nothing to do with Rachel Zegler. It's not, so or how much the movie costs, which also has nothing to do with Rachel Zegler. So yeah, she is definitely being scapegoated. I don't know, I'm sure it is Disney to some extent, the Disney spin machine. If you'll notice, since booking Snow White, she hasn't really booked a ton of big studio jobs. She's doing stuff like Y2K, and it's not that she'll never work in this town again, sort of thing. But I don't think that people really are dying to work with her, and it's because they can't control her. And God, I'm super outspoken. God bless her for being outspoken, but that is not what studios are necessarily looking for. Now, I don't think that they understand the pressures of social media, that you're being asked to weigh in on this stuff. And if you don't, then you're complicit to some extent. And so, it's always like this pick a side sort of thing. But yeah, clearly she has not mastered that art, nor have I. So who am I to lecture? And I'm 41. I wish her the best of luck going forward. But to demonize Tatiana Siegel, I think, is crazy and irresponsible by a lot of people online. I've seen some crazy stuff about Tatiana. She's one of the best journalists I know.
I know. I'm surprised, but like Melissa Barrera coming after her was just ridiculous. Like, come on, y'all. I mean, everyone is fair game in this business. If you can't handle criticism, get the fuck out of this business, because you're in the wrong business. I mean, this is how it goes. Trying to tell journalists what they can and can't write about, or that they're being whatever, I think is nonsense. You've chosen to be in a front-facing business. You will get criticism and you will get praise. So that's how it works. So, but to me, I've kind of been evolving my opinion on this. I mean, at the beginning of the week, I was like, yeah, she said these things. Clearly it affected the box office. She should learn this or whatever. But after reading a little more deeply the THR story, after reading some other articles on this, my mind's kind of changing a little bit in that I think she knew exactly what she was doing. This is a smarter woman than people think. I know a lot of you guys who haven't accomplished what she's accomplished in her life are out here telling her that she should do this and she should do that. But the truth is that she is a young woman who's smart about what's going on in the world politically and is going to speak out on it no matter what the hell's going on. And she's used the larger platforms to speak out on it. You don't catch her talking about Palestine on the Y2K junket even though that film is about how dangerous technology is and how we can become slaves to technology in terrible ways, she didn't speak out on anything there. She chose Snow White. She chose the other film that she was a part of there to speak out on it and talk about it. Now, were her words correct? That's obviously a subjective situation, but does she have a right to speak her mind? Yes, she does. Will it cost the studio sometimes? Sure. But look, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo also spoke out with the pro-Palestine stuff, and Wicked didn't suffer a goddamn thing. You know why? Because it's a good fucking movie. So to me, this is where I think Disney is scapegoating her, as you said, because they made a shit movie. And it's not, and look, ironically, she's the one they're talking about coming out of all the films. So people can say she's never going to work again, whatever. Hollywood has a short-term memory. Shall I show you Mel Gibson's movies? Like, Hollywood has a short-term memory. I think as she rebuilds herself on the stage here, the Romeo and Juliet, leading Evita in London and the West End, eventually they'll swing around. And even today, My Time to Shine Hello put out there that Marvel might be looking at her for a role, Rachel Zegler for a role. So I think she will work. I think she'll be just fine because she's super fucking talented. And that matters more than anything else, I feel like. And no one talks about that she's difficult to work with, Jeff. There's no stories of her being difficult to work with other than the social media stuff. And she may be mastering at a young age better than any of the old fogies who are trying to tell her to play it like the old school way.
Yeah. She'll get the hang of it.
Yeah. I feel like that's the truth in the situation there. So we'll see. All right, 900 of you joining us right now. Wow, thank you so much for joining us here on the Outlaw Nation. Please remember to subscribe down below and hit that bell button so we keep going towards 40,000 subscribers. And Jeff, where can they subscribe to read all your insights in the world of entertainment all the time?
TheInsneider.com, www.theinsneider.com.
Can you tease anything tonight? Are you breaking anything tonight? Are you?
I probably am not going to be able to publish until tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I'm taking JTE out to dinner after this.
Hey, is his birthday or something?
No,
just hanging out.
JTE's my boy. My boy needs me, so I'm taking JTE out on the town.
The Patriots.
Friendship is more important sometimes.
Okay.
So the newsletter will wait, but I'm going to have some discussion of the PTA movie.
Okay.
And we can talk about that trailer shortly.
Yeah, we'll do that next. Go ahead.
The Academy, like that, the Academy's response to this whole abduction situation.
Yes.
No bueno. I mean, the Academy's communication strategy is terrible lately.
Yeah, there's a lot to be desired for sure.
Horrible. I don't know what's going on there. Obviously the Disney landing the Marty Leo Dwayne Johnson package. That's a statement by. Okay. Yeah. David Greenbaum really hasn't greenlit a whole lot since he took over Disney on the live action side. And so that's a pretty big bet. Sundance.
Yes. Sundance move. Let's talk about that right now. Let's just do that. Now, I know we're going to talk about news, but are you surprised by this Sundance moving, officially moving? I mean, I've never been to Sundance, but I know that's a very, very big deal. So I am really surprised that they are moving from Park City, Utah, where they had been for so long, to Boulder, Colorado. Although a lot of people say Boulder, Colorado is a pretty cool town. So does this feel like a lateral move, Jeff, more than some surprising, shocking difference overall?
I know a lot of people are like, well, why isn't this in fucking Burbank, right? Like, why are we going to the cold at all? And why is everybody who's going to this thing leaving where we already are? But that's not what Sundance is about. I think that it's a destination. It's about taking the trip and devoting yourself and shutting everything else out and just giving yourself up to movies. Although, in recent, Sundance needs to get back to what it was, right? It needs to discover filmmakers. It has become who's performing at Tau tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't make that movie at 6 because I got to be out until 4 a.m. at the club.
Right.
Getting strangled by Emil Hirsch.
Easy now.
Hey, that was confirmed. He confessed to that.
That's true.
Don't worry, not another lawsuit. Don't worry, Daddy. But yeah, I like Sundance. There was something so special about it to me. It just got to be too expensive because all the locals just knew, we can just jack up the prices here, and Hollywood's going to pay because people need lodging. No one wants to, like, you know, it's tough to get transportation. You can't walk within the snow. I'm glad it's moving to Boulder because, like, it was always tough on my lungs. And I've got, I mean, I have asthma and everything, so I've got weak lungs. But, like, I'm an in-shape dude, and it was still a struggle at times. So, like, I can't imagine being an older person having to hoof it around fucking Park City to see, you know, Sundance movies. They also haven't discovered a filmmaker in a while, John. Like, it's been a while since there was really a breakout movie that everybody talked about and everybody saw. Like, maybe it'll be this movie, Sorry Baby, this year that A24 picked up, or Train Dreams that Netflix bought. But, like,
Okay. The other thing, as you already mentioned, I had it on the rundown, but let's get your 2 cents on this here. This situation is going about. I mean, I'm super surprised this is happening. Like this, I am definitely very surprised it's happening. But 20th Century Studios has picked up the Hawaii set crime thriller package that has DiCaprio, Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt attached to star, and Martin Scorsese directing, which is and it's written by journalist and author Nick Bilton. The fact-based untitled movie is said to be in the mold of Scorsese's Goodfellas and The Departed, centering on a mob boss vying for control of the Hawaiian Islands in the 1960s and in the 1970s. So, Jeff, we kind of thought this wasn't maybe going to happen, but it happened pretty quick. So what's your reaction to them greenlighting this so fast after it was just announced that it was being shopped around?
I mean, it didn't happen quick. Like, happening quick would have been like it sold that day or in the, you know, that weekend. It definitely took a couple weeks to find a buyer. And you know, it obviously went past all the ones that, you know, typically have the deepest pockets, which are the streamers. You know, but you know, Amazon, I don't think was looking to spend on this package after spending $1 billion to buy out everybody on Bond.
Right.
You know, they have to be at least, you know, somewhat conscious of the budget over there. And Apple and Netflix have both sort of been burned in the past. So they found their sucker, if you will. I don't know if this is the best bet. But it's a defensible one. You can go to your bosses and be like, dude, I fucking bet on Leonardo DiCaprio and Dwayne Johnson. Like, what do you want from me? You know, you can go before your bosses with that. And it's somewhat understandable. Plus, this is probably a more commercial idea than One Battle After Another, which costs, you know, close to $150.
Right.
What did they say this was? 200?
Yeah, 200.
Yeah, it's a lot for a crime movie, but with those two guys, Hawaii, like that's another thing. Like this isn't like come spend 2.5 hours in dreary Boston or Detroit. Like this is a crime movie where you rarely see crime movies. It's a different kind of crime movie. It's an interesting hook.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that Emily Blunt seems like, from what they're saying in the article here, was kind of the driving force in making this happen with the idea, and then The Rock getting on board, because her and The Rock have been friends since Jungle Cruise and probably a little bit before. And then roping in DiCaprio and Scorsese. This is an interesting combination of actors for a film like this. I would have never thought Dwayne Johnson for a film of this magnitude. Do you think it'll be like serious but with some jokes throughout, or do you think this is going to be like they were saying, a much more harder edged approach like Goodfellas and what have you?
Oh, I believe that for sure. Like I don't want to see like the goofy version of this or whatever. I want the serious version. I just don't know if I'm going to buy Dwayne Johnson in that role. I mean, you know, I don't know if you saw the report from World of Real about Smashing Machines. I heard similar things about, like, sounds like that's not, if you noticed in my Oscar predictions, I didn't have that in my early Oscar predictions. I'd heard it's really not an awards movie.
Yeah, I read the report this morning that it seems like Dwayne is in a different movie than everybody else, and that's not, if that's on purpose, okay. But that's not usually a good sign for a movie where someone seems like they're acting in a completely different movie than everybody else.
Isn't that on Benny?
Yeah, it's on Benny, of course. Yeah, because he's the director and he's the one guiding The Rock, guiding the performance of Dwayne Johnson. So, yeah, absolutely. But, you know, they're still going to hang it on him. You know, people always have their knives out for Dwayne to attack his acting and his talent. So I think that's a dangerous part of that, of working with an artistic filmmaker. You could get screwed in the end because they have a vision, you know, overall. All right, so we'll keep tabs on that for sure. Well, what'd you think of this trailer, dude? You mentioned it, one battle after another. This new Thomas Anderson trailer. Not that many views on YouTube, so clearly people are like, yeah, sure, let's see. But it's not getting the best reviews coming out of the early screenings. People are a little mixed. So okay, fine. What do you think of the trailer?
I thought it looked really good.
Yeah.
I've heard it's great.
Okay.
Spoiler for my newsletter. I've heard really good things about one or another. But it's a tough sell.
Yeah.
That's also what I heard. Tricky sell. It does have, if I had to compare it to another PTA movie, the obvious one is Inherent Vice, which
I was just gonna say, yeah, it has that energy.
I know some people think Inherent Vice is a masterpiece. I found it unwatchable.
Inherent Vice is dog crap, yeah.
But Leo is a very different actor.
Yeah.
A much more giving actor, I think, than Joaquin Phoenix. A much more open, he's just, there's something about him. I could watch him read the fucking phone book. Not that I couldn't watch Joaquin do that too, but this looks great. I've heard Chase Infinity's really good. Sean Penn's supposed to be amazing. Yeah, you'd sign me up.
It's interesting time. You look at PTA, right? Licorice Pizza was not my cup of tea. It was a terrible movie.
I liked it.
I know a lot of people liked it, but I liked Phantom Thread. I mean, he's a filmmaker who makes films that are going to be divisive, and I don't mean divisive in the sense of like, oh, it's so hateful. It's more a matter of like, you either get it or you don't, and he will make his vision clear. Because I love There Will Be Blood and Punch Drunk Love. There's a lot of The Master, even, which I've been rediscovering recently as it's been playing on Pluto TV over and over again. Like, that's a film I need to take a little more time and sit down with and really go through, because there's a lot of brilliance in The Master as well that appeals to what's going on nowadays. So
you're right that his movies are divisive.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling this one will be a little bit more commercial, almost like a Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights is not divisive, right? Everybody likes Boogie Nights.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think this will be closer to that than all the others, which I believe are divisive.
Oh, right on. Okay. Let's see. What else have we got lined up here that we rolled? Oh, yeah. Well, what do you think of this situation here? Barry Jenkins has locked down a biopic on Ronnie Spector with Zendaya starring in this. Are you liking this news? Does this make sense for both of them as a next film? And this is with A24 doing this. And Ronnie Spector, it's going to be called Be My Baby, because that's, of course, one of the big songs that Ronnie was a part of. Ronnie has a history with a lot of people during the 50s and 60s. It's an interesting choice for Zendaya. Does she look like her? I mean, a little bit I could see it, but are people going to care about this, Jeff?
No, and who cares? It's like,
okay.
Do people, does she look like her? No one knows what Ronnie Spector looks like.
Of course they do. What's wrong with you? I know what Ronnie Spector is.
What would she look like? I have
put her on the screen. That's her right there, Ronnie Spector.
Okay, well, first of all, it doesn't matter. No one's going to care.
The Ronettes. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Ronettes. Come on. Again, this is one of those things where I'm just like, who is this for? Like, who is crying out for a Ronnie Spector movie? Maybe there is a really fascinating story. I'm sure she did lead a really fascinating life. We don't have like a Dean Martin movie or like the Sammy Davis Jr. movie really yet. Like, we're getting the Ronnie Spector movie. I just don't understand it.
Okay.
She's not as well known as like Priscilla, and I don't think Priscilla did super well, but I know Zendaya is a much bigger star than Kaylee Spaney. So, is that why they're doing this? Is just that, hey, we have Zendaya and the math works because we have her? Because the story, I'm just like, how is this supposed to resonate with A24's audience?
Yeah. Yeah, it may be a Priscilla type approach, just a small independent film, and this may be what, like, Zendaya looks at this as a possibility to get herself nominated if she delivers a fantastic performance. Kristen Stewart, Natalie Portman delivered interesting performances as Princess Diana and Jackie O, respectively. So maybe she sees this as a possibility for her to kind of establish herself even more as an actress and get those acting bones going, and working with someone like Barry Jenkins, who's an excellent filmmaker. Aside from Mufasa, it would be interesting to see what their collaboration is like. And Ronnie Spector was married to Phil Spector, so that's got to be a part of this as well. So how is that going to play itself into the overall story? So we will see. We will see for sure. All right, Final Destination Bloodlines, brother. What did you think of this trailer? What a great trailer. I loved it. What did you think?
Which trailer? I'm sorry, I got a text.
Final Destination Bloodlines.
Didn't watch it. I'm glad that you mentioned it, okay? Because I'm proud to have not watched it. This ticket was sold. I saw the teaser in the tattoo parlor. Why would I watch a trailer for Final Destination? I want the kills to be fresh. I'm not going to spoil myself. I saw the glass and the ice thing. I mean, that was unavoidable.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't going to watch that full trailer. I'm sorry to anyone who thought I was or hoped that I would.
Okay.
But this is the highest compliment I can pay you, is that I'm literally trying to avoid the marketing materials so I can go in fresh and fully appreciate the movie.
Okay. Well, I loved it. I thought it was great. It captured a lot of the energy, and the fact that it showed us that it is going to be generational and that there's Easter eggs throughout this trailer. Really? I thought it was. I don't want to ruin it for Jeff, but the Easter eggs in here were pretty fucking cool. So I like that trailer. Yeah.
Dude, I've always loved this franchise. It was funny that Perry just texted.
Oh,
and it's been a little while, so it was funny that like Final Destination brings out Scary Perry.
What about CinemaCon here, buddy? You're going real soon. Your preview is.
I'm going to fucking dominate it like I do every year, because I look at these movies, right or wrong, through a very different set of eyes than everybody else. And I totally acknowledge that I missed the boat last year on Wicked, right? Which turned out to be a delight.
A massive delight. Yeah.
I feel like I have been with most of these movies, right? Okay. For years in some cases.
Right.
Like some of these movies, most people in the theater, it's like, oh, I've never heard of that. Like, what is this? You know, I haven't been, I've been with these movies for years already by the point we get to CinemaCon. It's almost like the finish line for me. And so I just know a little bit more about how they got made, why they got made. I don't know. I love it. To me, it is the Super Bowl every year. And, we're getting Amazon's going to be up on stage. We're getting an extra presentation this year. Sign me up for more work. And it's crazy, the Salke timing is obviously time to get in front of that.
Yeah. Is there anything you're looking forward to panel-wise? I mean, you wrote a pretty, for those of you who don't subscribe to the Inside, you wrote a pretty extensive breakdown studio per studio. I'm not going to go, it would be an hour for us to go through everything.
It wasn't great just because like a lot of studios didn't really feel like participating and just left it up to me to speculate. And like, I wish I'd gotten, a little bit more clarity on what the actual plans are.
Right.
Kind
of. Is there anything you're looking forward to? Any presentation or any studio in particular that you want to see that you hope hits the high mark when they do their presentation?
I mean, Universal always does a good presentation. Yeah. And obviously this year I'm very curious about the cruise stuff with Paramount and whether if this is the final reckoning, right? And they're like, hey, we're doing 2 more Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies. Well, what do you like? Are you letting this guy out the door? Like, how are you keeping him around?
Yeah.
It's gotta be Top Gun 3. Is there any news on Top Gun 3? Who does Tom Cruise trust more than anybody behind the camera? And just like I mean, listen, it may still be Kaczynski directing, but like as far as writing, he loves McQuarrie.
Right.
McQuarrie coming on. Are they doing Days of Thunder instead?
Oof.
Did F1 sort of beat him to the punch there? Is there even a way to make Days of Thunder now cooler than F1, or is it just like, all right, we're asking too much?
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Knights of Thunder.
I said, but that wasn't as big as Top Gun, so I don't know if there's a logical reasoning to do that one. But okay, fine, I guess you bring back John C. Reilly. Is Robert Duvall still around? I mean, Robert could come back, I suppose. Nicole, what are you going to get? Nicole, you can't get Nicole to come back. What are you going to do about that?
I'm speculating here. I'm also pumped for Glenn Powell is obviously like movie star of the moment, I feel like. And I
Right.
want to see that Running Man trailer. I bet you we're getting footage from that. That seems like a big movie for Paramount at the end of the year.
Nice. Well, you can follow his coverage there on the Sneider.com. I'm not going this year.
We'll miss you.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm becoming more of an introvert and more of a homebody, and going out into a place where I could get the norovirus or God knows what else does not excite me. So I try to stay.
Owe me $50 from that trip to the strip club last year, John.
Brother, if $50 would have bought us 2 minutes in a strip club in Vegas, for God's sakes, get real, man. Then again, you like to go to those ones right off the strip. Anyway, one last thing before we get to the questions. Your smell test on this. Mikey Madison is reportedly been offered the lead female role in Zach Cregger's Resident Evil reboot at Sony Pictures, according to Jordan over there at World of Real. It does not indicate if Madison will play anyone from the games, but it could be the second potential piece of casting with her, because Austin Abrams is joining the cast. So do you buy it? Doesn't make sense, this next move for her to lead this. I mean, you're stepping in for Jovovich. No offense, but Mikey Madison is already a way better actress than Jovovich. So does this make sense to take this over? But you are working with Zach Cregger.
Are you stepping in for Jovovich, or is Austin Abrams the lead?
That's true.
You know, it's like that's what confused me. Is it's like the article sort of positioned Abrams as the entry point, the lead into this franchise. So I don't think that you go to be the number 2.
Right.
It's complicated. I mean, normally I would say run and hide from Resident Evil. It's way beneath you.
Right.
But Cregger intrigues me.
Yeah, Zach Cregger.
Especially if Weapons is really good. It's like, oh shit, like this guy could actually make something. Like this could be like 28 Days Later, and you're gonna be kicking yourself for not taking the Naomi Harris role. You know, how many actors have probably passed on that role, then saw 28 Days Later and was like, fuck. I mean, that's just me speculating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be cool.
Okay. All right. If it happens. All right, there you go. Let's get to the questions here, Jeff. I know we got limited time. So Max Loth says, any casting updates on the new Hunger Games film? Yes or no?
No. I've got, I'd heard some names, but I'd heard it's early days. Like the script still isn't done. They're still doing some work on the script. I don't know if they're actually like meeting with people, but I'm sure there's a list everywhere for everything, right?
Yeah. Max Law said, Fancast, what do you think Kelvin Harrison Jr. playing Tiger Woods in a biopic recently announced at Amazon MGM? I like Kelvin Harrison Jr. Maybe.
I think he'd be great.
Especially now that, he's dating former Don Trump Jr.'s wife. Derek Johnson's, or Don Trump Jr.'s former wife, says, support. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate that, brother. Always good to see you. Max Loth also says, thoughts on the Tatiana Siegel article blaming Zegler for Snow White failing? We talked about that earlier. Thank you, Max. Appreciate that.
Just real quick, like Tatiana is not responsible even for what makes it to the page, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
The editor. Yeah, it's the editor. The editors never. It's like they get the higher salary and they get none of the responsibility or the blame, or none of the blame. It's all about what the editor's letting through and how they're positioning it. She probably didn't even write her own headline.
Right. Good point. Ariel Phoenix says, is this really going to be done by May 2026? No CGI, please. I don't know, man.
I would be surprised myself. That's what I thought. That's why I positioned I asked in the newsletter, is like, are these movies actually hitting these dates? But I guess it's possible. I don't know.
So just a month. It's just a year and a month away. That doesn't seem believable. Is this really going to be okay? I don't want bad CGI in the next few MCU films. I hope they don't rush this and ruin it. Where's Wong? I know Wong should come back for sure. I heard a story about CGI from a friend of mine, a contact. And someone was very upset about a certain VFX shot, and they were mad at the VFX people and apparently threw a stapler in anger about the VFX situation. I'm not going to mention anything. What?
Like, so they didn't throw the stapler at the VFX people. They just they saw it and they threw a stapler.
They threw a stapler in anger at the shot because they weren't apparently getting across to them what that person wanted to see as the director of the film on screen. So an interesting story for sure when you talk about anger in this and bad CGI. Asutosh Raj Kumar, thank you, buddy. What can you say about the chameleon being the main villain of Spider-Man 4? Jeff, what can you say?
Good question. So again, this was a single source, good source,
Yes.
but like, I'm just like, what have you heard? Because I've heard things that are all over the place for Spider-Man 4, and they said that they'd heard that it could end up being Chameleon.
Yes.
But that they wouldn't be called Chameleon, which I guess, why would they be called Chameleon if the chameleon is being somebody else? That's like the whole thing that Chameleon does. So when, he wouldn't be pretending to be somebody else and go by Chameleon, he'd be going by whatever that person's name is.
Yeah.
So it kind of made sense. And again, I know I'm using the word he. It could be a she. Why can't Chameleon be a she?
Yeah.
The person basically was like, there was an idea that Chameleon might be off limits because of Kraven the Hunter, but nobody watched. I haven't even seen Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, nobody cares. You can use those characters.
The surface of that character. It's like that's such a big villain for Spider-Man. Or you're telling me it's just going to be like played by Fred Heckinger in a spin-off movie nobody saw, and then that's it because of it? That's what made me be like, you're right. I think it is definitely in play, and it does kind of make sense.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, Ewok says, okay, roll with me on this. Rather than playing Nightcrawler, what if Marvel brought back Alan Cummings so he could play the host from The Traitors? Which 3 superheroes should he pick to be the Traitors? Well, clearly Namor.
Can it be supervillains?
Well, that would be obvious. Supervillains being traitors. It's supposed to be difficult to figure out who the traitors are.
I mean, Captain America, Chris Evans.
Oof, that would be a good one. Yeah. And don't we already have it built in with Don Cheadle? When did War Machine become a Skrull? When did he not become a Skrull? So questions there as well. So
okay. I would like Brie Larson. I think she'd be traitorous.
A traitorous Captain Marvel? Wow.
Captain Marvel, America. If you have any kind of rank, I want you in the Traitors. I have an interview, Johnny, with Paul Walter Hauser.
Nice.
I got a full 15 with Paul, who I go way back with for the movie, and that's hopefully going to run maybe even this weekend, maybe Monday. I don't know. But he says that if he could join any TV show, it would be the Traitors.
Oh, yeah, of course. He'd be fantastic on that. Asutosh Raj Kumar also says, he already sent that again. Sorry about that. Jack Core 2022. Hey, fellas, any new info on Dune 3? Love the show and thank you for keeping me entertained. Hope to run into Jeff this year at TIFF. Yeah. Jeff, what can you say? Dune 3, anything? I haven't heard a damn thing.
I feel like that's coming next week. I feel like that's
CinemaCon.
Like part of the Warner Brothers panel where they're going to say December 2026 or whatever.
Wow. A. Sewell says the timing of the Scorsese 20th Century News is hilarious considering what we learned about the other day in the studio. LOL.
What do we?
With Scorsese, that first episode. Oh, that's right.
What did we learn about? I'm confused.
Well, remember his pitch for his movie in the first episode, what Scorsese was talking about, and what what he was trying with the story he was trying to tell, the really serious.
Yeah.
So maybe they connected to that. Yank says it is good. Yank says, hey guys, always a bright spot watching you each week. If you started your own news outlet, which reporters, scoopers would you want on your team? I think our teams would be different. So,
I mean, it would depend on like who I needed. I think obviously I'd want Kroll. I have respect for all the guys. Kroll, Boris, Umberto, they're all great. Drew Taylor does a great job.
Drew, definitely. Tatiana Siegel, come on. Beatrice Verhoeven, who just got promoted. Congratulations to her.
Congrats to be. There's a lot of people. I've thought about this is like one of the most controversial ideas I've ever had. I've been toying with it for years. Okay.
Oh.
It's doing a entertainment journalist power rankings. I think everyone in the industry would read it and it would hurt so many feelings.
I think it's fantastic. You should absolutely do it. I think it'd be amazing.
It would obviously take a real feat of narcissism on my part to do that, but
because you'd have to rank yourself.
Oh yeah. I think Matt and Kim would probably be 1-2 though at this point.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. 100% would agree with that.
I think it's both of them now.
Francisco Lopez says, with CinemaCon around the corner, is it possible Disney could change the date for the Fantastic Four to November, or it's too late to change the date? I don't think any dates are set in stone with Marvel.
Yeah, like let's just wait a week. But no, I think it is coming out this summer. I've heard that they are really high on it and that they like it. Okay. But again, anything could fucking happen in CinemaCon.
So true. So true. Alan Smithy says, did some work for Chris Columbus today. Oh, that's nice. Yes, I sometimes work for Tarantino, Sean Baker, Scorsese. Never met any of them, but I work for them sometimes. My question is, who's a huge director you've met or interviewed? Thanks. Jeff, who's a huge director you've met or interviewed?
Honestly, the one time, I mean, I've met some good ones.
Yeah.
This will be a controversial answer. The one time where I was like, holy shit, I can't believe this is like fucking happening.
Yeah.
Woody.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
You and Woody stuck on an elevator? I would love to have like a microphone in that elevator if you guys were stuck for like 6 hours.
Me and Woody Allen.
So tell me about your
I was just like, this is nuts. I mean, Tarantino obviously was a wild one. Kevin Smith's my favorite though.
Yeah, I've met Kevin Smith before because of the Schmodown.
Kevin's daughter just got engaged this week.
Oh, nice. Harley, right? Nice. Congratulations. I met Fuqua. I don't know who else I might have met. I can't remember if I've met her because I mean my friends run in those circles back when I lived in LA. So, I would occasionally be invited to parties or whatever, and I would meet certain people, but it's all a blur sometimes. Ewok says, what the hell? We got 007 films in 2006 and 2008, but not 2007? Oh, okay. Okay. 34 Virgo, is M. Night Shyamalan shit allowed to get any more movies greenlit after his Temu quality straight to DVD Tubi thriller? Anything he has coming up next? I guess they didn't like the one with Josh Hartnett.
Trap. I can't dignify this with an answer. I believe that M. Night Shyamalan is a genius.
You do think he's a genius? A genius.
A genius, and I think that anyone who's read the book The Man Who Heard Voices would agree. Yeah.
All right.
I think it's one of the great books about like directors.
Right. C Black says Feige started his career with the OG X-Men. It's no doubt every one of them will be back in Doomsday. Oh, that's a great point. I'd forgotten about that. So yeah, I see why he wants to bring them in and whatever. But yeah, they'll probably all
in last night's newsletter. But yeah, that's where he cut his teeth, was on those original X-Men movies. So it makes sense that he'd have an affinity for that era.
Yeah, good point. Fantastic. Hi, Hot Mike. Hey, Hot Mike. Any Star Wars news? Jeff, you got anything new rolling around in that brain of yours you've heard?
Don't expect a Mando trailer at CinemaCon.
Okay. Well, Celebration is like less than a month away, so they'll probably do it there in Japan. You usually drop some news for Celebration, man. So hopefully you got something lined up before Celebration. Eric Kirby says, what?
I dropped something pretty big during the show, but okay.
True. Eric Kirby says, hey guys, are the rumors true that Stephen A. Smith stole Molly Quirm from Jalen Rose? That's why they got the divorce. Jeff, I know you know.
I don't even know who is that a person? Molly
She's
Quirm?
The host on I think in the morning show he does. She's the host.
I've literally never heard that name before just now. So I have no idea who you're talking about.
What'd you think of Stephen A. threatening to hit LeBron if LeBron had hit him or stepped to him?
The easiest thing in the world to do. I could say that right now.
I know.
Come at me, The Rock. Come at me, Dwayne Johnson. I dare you to hit me, motherfucker. Like
he was so.
If he hits me, I'm rich. I mean, if I hit him, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, right. He was so emasculated by that confrontation with LeBron. He won't let it go because LeBron put him in his place. And now he's going on all these shows saying, well, if he had stepped to me, I'd have slapped him. And I know he'd kick my ass, but I was like,
it's like, fuck you money now. He thinks he can say fuck you to everybody, but he's got to realize who the alpha dog is.
That contract doesn't come with muscles, bro. Like LeBron would pull your heart out and right in front of you. I mean, and the thing is, you can't go, and there's nothing manly about going on safe networks and saying you do this or that. If you didn't do it in the moment, you lost the opportunity. You don't get to capture the moment. 34 Virgo, will American Crime Story or True Detective return? Oh yeah, Jeff. Now that Fukunaga's not doing doing Blade, will he go back to True Detective? What do you think?
True Detective will return. It'll be Issa Lopez again.
Yeah,
and American Crime Story, I'm sure, will return at some point too. Just got to find the right crime.
Yep. C Black says Deadline reported 275 million people watched the Doomsday stream. Wow, it's a pretty good number. I don't know if that's true. 275 million. You got to figure out how they stopped in for 5 minutes. I don't know how they do a view there. So, all right, here goes. Let's get some Streamlabs here, Jeff. Mike Joyce, I hope we get Deadpool and Wolverine's Gambit. I ain't know my daddy, but I'm sure I shot out of his dick ready. Yeah, he was laying them buttery nuts all up in my mama, and I shot out of there, and I said, "Oh, what's up, dog?" Is hilarious to me. Need more lines like that. Oh, God, I hope not. I don't know. I think Doomsday is supposed to be a much more serious film. Yeah.
What's the question?
Do you want to see Channing Tatum do some dialogue from Deadpool and Wolverine in Doomsday, like that kind of style of dialogue with that accent?
I think they'll ask him to dial it back. Detail here in Deadline's story on Salke.
Okay.
Fleming is saying that he's hearing a condition of Amy Pascal and David Heyman signing on to James Bond is that they report to Courtney Valenti and not to Salke.
Wow.
Before Salke was basically fired.
Jesus.
So
is
it was basically those two, Pascal, a former studio head, Heyman, the producer of Harry Potter, being like, agreeing with what they'd heard from Broccoli, like these people are idiots to some extent, and being like, if we're going to do this, we're reporting to Courtney, who is one of us, right? Who David worked with on Harry Potter, and who's a studio person rather than Jen Salke, who's a TV person.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So kudos.
By the way, let me ask you something. A couple of my friends who've watched the studio said that Catherine O'Hara is maybe a version of Amy Pascal. Do you agree? Or, huh?
She might as well be called Amy Pascal in the show.
Okay, fair point.
There's no maybe about it. Sorry.
Anonymous said, sorry if this is a stupid question, but Jeff, would it be better for you if I did the yearly subscription and newsletter or the month-to-month? The reason I'm asking is because I want to support you the most I can financially. Oh, there you go, Jeff.
Listen, it's simple math. If you're going month to month and there's 12 months, you're going to wind up paying $120 compared to $100.
Yeah.
Do the annual. But I also understand some people don't have the $100 all at once, and they're like, I can only do $10 each month, and that makes sense too. As of now, I don't see myself changing the pricing, but you never know. But I appreciate it no matter however you choose. Thank you very much.
Fredtastic 314, sup, Hot Mike. This message is for all those comic book nerds who are not athletic. The chair reveal was exactly like how the NFL draft goes. Respect to Marvel. Actually, that's a great comparison, Jeff. A lot of build up. You're on the clock, and then the name gets announced with a chair coming out instead of a human being coming out. I think that's a good connection.
Yeah, it is similar to a draft, except there's nothing in between. There's no
right.
Yeah, there's no filler. And that's what they should have had. They should have had. I don't give a shit if it's Coy and Greg, right? Who are great. They could have been there in between, being like, Tom Hiddleston, he appears in 4 of the Marvel movies. What do we think about Tom Hiddleston coming back? What could just something in between. But obviously, you can't give that kind of exposure when you have 300 million people watching.
Yeah, exactly. Klaus says, you're implying Aaron Pierre was offered Black Panther? Imagine the meltdown of a light-skinned actor playing the African son of 2 dark-skinned characters. I don't know. Jeff? I don't know.
You expect me to comment on light skin versus dark skin in the MCU? Come on.
Fredtastic 314. I too had a dream where James Gunn. What? Say it again.
That's bait.
Yeah. Fredtastic 314. I too had a dream where James Gunn came to me. I told him to stop responding to the trolls on socials, and he said, "Fuck off." I'm Two Fly Cam. Hello, guys. Cautious if you have any tea on the Grogu movie, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie trailer for Celebration, maybe. Also, with Ahsoka currently shooting, how terrible and mediocre do you both think the writing will be? And/or in the re-release of Episode 3 will give me my Star Wars fix, I guess. Yeah, I don't have a lot of hope for Ahsoka for sure. Trailer for Celebration. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, what do you think about for Mandalorian and Grogu? What do you think about that, Jeff? Have you heard anything on it?
I think fans of the show will be. I think that the important thing for them, the message that they're trying to get across with this movie, is that this is not just a movie for fans of the show. That you can show up blind and still enjoy the story that we're telling here, and you don't need to have seen 3 seasons of The Mandalorian or whatever it is.
Yeah. That's got to be the path they walk through.
There you go, Disney. I just did something that you probably pay someone $1 million to consult for you on.
Okay, let's see. What's the next one here? This one is from Doug Developer. What's up, Doug? He said, so weird seeing PTA tackle a film set in relative modern day. Would love to see QT follow suit. Would be even weirder. Tarantino would be even weirder if we were to see Daniel Day-Lewis in a film where he drives a car and uses a smartphone. Has he ever appeared in a film set in the present? Oh, has Daniel Day-Lewis ever appeared in a film set in the present? Jeff, do you remember anything that he's appeared in set in the present? Well, I mean, Punch Drunk Love was set in the present for PTA.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's a good question, but
yeah,
for me, it's a meaty question for right now.
Yeah, I don't know where Ballad of Jack and Rose was set. But yeah, I mean, like all of his stuff is in the past. Yeah, fair point. All right, good question, man. Even Gandhi, when he had a small role.
Sandler movie or just like rom-com.
Mike Green 74 says, hello, Outlaw. A few questions, please answer. What is your favorite Black Mirror episode? Oof, mine is Metalhead. 2, stop stalling. Where is your political show? Come on. And 3rd, I'm liking, not loving what I see from PTA. Yeah, I thought it was an okay trailer. I think this is lower rent DiCaprio that I can believe more than Killers of the Flower Moon. And I love that end beat with him and Benicio del Toro, who I'm looking forward to more than anybody else in a PTA movie. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a fine trailer, but I know this film was going to be very divisive. Jeff, do you have a Black Mirror episode that you like? Did you ever watch Black Mirror?
What's Black Mirror, dude?
Oh my God.
No, I fucking love Black Mirror. I like the one, I think it's called Shut Up and Dance, where he makes the kid go around robbing banks and stuff.
Oh,
I thought that was pretty crazy with like that creepy face.
What's the one with John Hamm where they've got the little...
It's usually the ones without the celebrities that are my favorite.
Okay. I can't remember what it was. It was a technology one where your entire soul was in the egg or whatever, but I can't remember what that one was. But I thought that one was amazing. I love that one.
I like the Daniel Kaluuya one where he's like on the treadmill, like running, for points 1,000,000 miles away, I think.
I need to watch those more. Carl said, is Darren Aronofsky still directing Plastic Man? Also, which characters are currently being cast in the DC realm? I don't know. Jeff, do you know who characters being cast in DC realm?
Just supporting cast for Sergeant Rock
and Lanterns, which just got announced today.
Lanterns is still doing drips and drabs of Jasmine Cephas Jones joined today.
Right.
A couple of people
today. Aronofsky for Plastic Man, is that still happening? I don't know if that's happening.
There's something in Lanterns. I wonder if it'll get out before.
Okay. Samuel says, hey, John, I played the new Indiana Jones game on PC. I thought it was great, better than the last 2 movies. It's coming out on PS5 next month. Great. You should definitely pick it. I will. I would love to hear your thoughts. Plus, it's one of Tony Todd's last appearances. Oh, wow. He's in the Indiana Jones game. Great. I will absolutely get it. I got to jump on Assassin's Creed right now soon. But yeah, that's my life. All right. I think that's everything, Jeff. No other Streamlabs, Super Chats. Yeah, that's it, buddy. We didn't do. Oh, wait, here we go. Mr. Poppy, sending love to the hot mic. Keep up the great work, bros. Thank you, Mr. Poppy.
Mr. Poppy would weigh in.
Kyle Fielder. I don't think that Bob the Builder movie with Anthony Ramos as the lead for Amazon MGM is happening. I didn't even know that was.
I have no idea. It's still like that feels like something from 10 years ago. Bob the Builder.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I don't see that either. All right, that's everything. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. A little bit of a truncated hot mic. We appreciate it madly. Thanks for the Streamlabs Super Chats. Thanks for the healthy conversations in the chat. Jeff, once again, where can they find you and where can they subscribe to your newsletter?
TheInsnider.com. All kinds of fun stuff coming, especially with CinemaCon coming up next week. And I do expect to touch base with a couple of different sources and whatnot.
Ooh.
And follow my boy JT Movie Things.
What's going on with there, JT? I need to know. We'll talk about it after we're done. As for me, at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and Blue Sky. And then, of course, remember to subscribe down below and hit that bell button. Leave your comments on all the things we're talking about. Don't forget our podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast. We have thousands and thousands of you who watch us every week, but the podcast barely makes 2,000 downloads a week, and that's nonsense. Please help us get more people on the podcast for that and subscribe to it. You don't even have to listen to the shows. Just download them so we get credit for them. That would appreciate that very much. Don't forget Geek Buddies tomorrow, and then some Jedi Way stuff coming up over the weekend here on the Outlaw Nation channel. All right, for my partner, Jeff Sneider, I am the Outlaw John Rocha. This has been the Hot Mic, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here on the Outlaw Nation. Peace.